Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Well, if you're familiar with my videos, you know I'm in the kitchen here. And feeling a little bit tropical today. It's a warm day. 90 degrees here in San Diego. Man, you can't beat it. Fall and it's 90 degrees. So it's a little bit warm. I was feeling tropical because I got some rum here. And, thinking about, what do I like to do? I like to make bread in my kitchen. And one that I've never made before is Hawaiian bread. So if you've ever tried the Hawaiian rolls, and they also make regular loaf Hawaiian bread, it's pretty good. I did a little bit of research on it and I found out where the sweetness comes from on the Hawaiian bread, and that is from pineapple juice. Now I found some recipes online, but I didn't find any for the no-knead style of bread. So I am going to try to adapt one of these recipes over to a no-knead style, and I guess we'll just see how it turns out. I'm shooting from the hip here, and speaking of shooting from the hip, I got my apron on. Thank you very much to my sister, Tom's Tinkering and Adventures apron. Yeah. Keeping me clean here, at least from the waist down. So let's see if we can't get started on this thing. The sweetness, like I said, comes from the pineapple juice. So let's get you here to the bowl view. Let's see if we can do this here. Get you right in the bowl, and I'll show you what's going in here, and I'll let you know. And if this works out, then I guess I will see if I can't get an ingredients list included in the description. I say I'm going to do that a couple times and I forget once in a while, so you know what, don't shoot the messenger here. So we have 1/2 cup of pineapple juice and 1/2 cup of water. So usually on these no-knead recipes, it's about a cup or so of water, anywhere between 12, 14 ounces. So this should work. All right, and then we're gonna add in 1/4 cup melted butter. And we'll stir that up here. I just had that knife sitting here, but someone who knew what they were doing would probably use a whisk. But you're dealing with me, so enjoy. The key to all of these no-knead breads, when I'm making them anyway, is this instant yeast, fast-acting yeast, sometimes known as bread machine yeast as well. So we don't use too much of that. We are going to use one quarter teaspoon. Put that in there. Salt, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Since this is a sweet bread. It's funny how salt brings out the flavor even on sweet things, though. We have 1 beaten egg. I beat the egg, so if the cops ask, it was me. Oh, that kind of sounded like men at work. Nah, I can't do it again. Do you come from a land down under? And we also have sugar. This is 6 tablespoons of sugar. Plenty of sugar in there. All right. Now we'll mix all this stuff up. See, I went from a knife to a fork. It's really getting fancy here. Did I add the vanilla? I don't remember doing it. There you go. How about we put 1/2 teaspoon of that in there? Sounds good to me. If it sounds good to you. I got a whining dog back here too. go. A little vanilla in there. Well, I'm running out of little dishes with stuff in it here. This is the first for me. I measured them all out, being all fancy. I now have 3 cups of bread flour to add to this. And let me get my favorite wooden spoon. We're going to add a little bit of this at a time. Yeah, a little bit over a cup at a time there, I guess. And we'll stir it in. It's always a good time. We'll get the rest in there. Mix it in for y'all. Now I'm trying to decide if I should make this into bread rolls or a loaf, a regular loaf pan, or a round loaf. I think I'm gonna try just a round loaf this first time around. It's easy to make. Rolls take a little bit extra work, not a lot, but if this recipe works, then I already know I can make it into anything I want. But I like making the round loaf. It kind of just looks neat to me. So there you go. You can see it's getting pretty sticky, and that's the texture that I like to see when I'm doing my no-knead breads. So let's see here. And I barely even have to scrape this off the sides. This is mixed pretty well, I think. Clean that off of there. And I always just like to kind of pat it down here. Just makes it easier for me to see the progress in here. And we're running the air conditioning here today. So I'm actually probably going to shut the AC off because it's feeling kind of cool. And your bread rises a little bit better when it's warm. You got to be at the right temperature. There we have it. So I got 8 minutes in on my video on this point, and that's me talking and all that sort of stuff. So you should be able to have your bread mixed up in about, well, you know, get your ingredients out. You'll be about the same time as I am. So let's put the lid on this thing, and I'll put it on top of my fridge where I like to set my bread. And let's take a look at the clock on the wall. It is 6 p.m. So that means that if I put it in here, I can wake up early tomorrow and make the bread. So we'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning. It is, let's take a look here. 6:20 in the morning. Nice and quiet in the house. I have already got my countertop covered with some flour here. You definitely want to make sure you got a good clean surface and cover it with flour. Don't be afraid. Stuff cleans up nice and easy. Let's take a look at our dough. You can see it's risen, about doubled in size probably. Oh, came out nicely. There we go. Let's move you in on the action here. So all I'm gonna do with this is, oh, let me get some flour on my hands. Definitely want to get flour on your hands. I'm gonna pat it out a little bit. This is a no-knead recipe, so all we've done is left it sit in there. We'll fold it over on itself. Go. We'll form it into a ball. And I will let it proof here in my skillet. Hit it with a little bit of non-stick spray. Put that in there. We'll let this proof for about 2 hours, and I'm going to want to preheat my oven, so I'm going to set the timer for about 1.5 hours, and then I'll take a look at it and turn on the oven, preheat that. When the oven's preheated, then this will go in. So we'll see you back here in about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So I turned on the oven at about 1.5 hours. It's preheated now. It's been just under 2 hours. And I got my baking dish in there nice and warm. So let me get it out here. I'll set it here so you can see what's going on. I put a little bit of cooking spray in there. Sorry, had to grab my scissors here. All right, and the bread's been sitting here. It didn't look like it raised quite as much as I would usually see, but this is the first time making this recipe, so we'll see how she turns out. Flip it in there, center it, and we'll give it a couple cuts here. And now into the oven. I don't have enough hands, so you're just going to look at the top of the stove while I put it in there. There you go. I got it set kind of down towards the bottom in 30 minutes. Let's go about 35 minutes. So we'll see you back here at that point. Well, it's been 35 minutes, and I've said this a few times on here, and I wish you all had smell-o-vision on YouTube, because it's smelling pretty good. Let's take a look at it. Looks pretty nice. All right, let me set you all up here, because I can't hold this and get this out of the oven at the same time. Oh yeah, look at that. Close that before one of my dogs climbs in. All right, and set this right here. Well, let's move it over here, and I'll move you in close after we tip it out. That smells really good. I'm going to let that cool. It's got to cool for about 30 minutes at least. You know, you like cutting into warm bread, but it's generally better to let it cool off a little bit. So we'll let it cool off, and then I will let you know how it turned out. Well, I've been sitting here waiting impatiently, and the bread has cooled down a bit. Let's cut it up here with my seat carving knife. I don't know if you watched my other videos, but I cut up a motorcycle seat with this. Hey, you know what? You can use your kitchen tools in the garage. It's okay. The greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah, look at the texture on that. It looks pretty nice. Now, oh, there's a hairbrush. That's not mine. This is good. This isn't going to last too long. would change on this. It didn't rise quite as much as I thought it should, but it has very good texture. So maybe it's pretty close. I will definitely be making it into rolls next time. Only reason I didn't make it into rolls this time around is just because first time making the recipe, and I kind of adopted a recipe that I found into a no knead recipe. So I wasn't sure how it was going to work, and I was just a little bit too lazy, so I just folded it into the round Corningware pan. But hey, give it a shot. Mess with it a little bit if you want. The Hawaiian bread usually has a little bit color to it, so you could probably add a little bit of food coloring to it if you wanted. Whatever you want to do. It's your recipe at this point, so enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your bread adventure. Adios.